Cosmo Barbaro Furniture, and today what I want to show you is how to mill cupped and twisted lumber on the joiner. I'm working with a 16-inch American joiner, and what I want to kind of talk to you about is what you're doing with your pressure and how you're holding the board. What you want to avoid doing is you're running this board over. Incidentally, this is 4/4 rough sawn hard rock maple. And what you want to do is you're going to have to pick a side. When I put this on the joiner, you're going to see how much material you're going to lose. This is a result of it not being dried properly. And incidentally, I want to give a shout out to Richie Lou out of Buffalo. I purchase all my lumber from there. They are fantastic. They're very good at drying their lumber. I never had problems with them, but I have had a lot of problems from another company, and it's a big problem when you're dealing with high-end custom furniture, especially with a finished product. You don't want any issues like this. So this is a result of the lumber company not drying the material correctly. So what I'm going to show you how to do is get a reference face and then a reference edge. And then what I'm going to do with this material is turn it into drawer stocks for these two side tables made out of sapele. And the backs of these drawers are going to be nice long drawers. They're going to be all, the backs are going to be through dovetails. The fronts are going to be half blind dovetails. So, and then they get a really cool deco pull on them. And I'll show you these in a second. And then I'm going to take this and resaw it and turn it into drawer stock like this. This will be turned into this. Now, this is a good candidate to do this for because you're going to lose so much material. And just to give everybody an idea, the process goes like this. For surfacing rough sawn lumber on the joiner, you get a reference face, and then you get a reference edge. And then what you do is you plane this opposite face, and that ensures you get parallel surfaces. Because if you flip this on the joiner, what you're going to end up with is a taper. It might not look like a taper, but if you mic this end up and then you mic this end up, it's not going to be the same. By getting a reference surface and then planing this opposite surface, in the planer, you ensure that you have parallel faces. To get parallel edges, your reference edge goes against your table saw, and you rip this on your table saw. And that's basic processing 101. But with this piece, it's a little different. I'm going to get a reference edge, reference surface. I'm going to get a reference edge, and then what I'm going to do is take my square and get a center line. I'm going to draw a center line on this. In a different video, I'm going to resaw this on the bandsaw, and I do it freehand. I don't set a fence up. So other people use a fence, it's fine. It's just about results. When I do it like that, I get flexing in the blade, and so that's the next video. So what I'm going to do now is move the camera so you can see how cupped this is, and I'll talk about my pressure and what I'm doing when I'm running it through. Pressure is a big part of having success on this machine. And the other most important thing is how to read the grain. Now, I don't know if I could show you this, but basically the grain kind of goes like this. It's like an arc. So as I run this through, it's very possible right here, because the grain comes down, I might get tear out. So the cutter head is essentially rotating like this. If I get excessive tear out in here, I could try and flip it around, but I'm going to essentially run it in this direction, and I'm reading this edge grain to do the face, and you do the opposite to do the edge. Now, I can do it like that because I've been doing it a long time, but it does take some practice, and it's worth knowing because you will save yourself a ton of time filling or sanding out, tear out. You really can't sand it out, you have to fill it. It's a big problem, so you really want to avoid that. So let me show you how bad this piece is and how I'll attack that. If I do this, it looks like the piece is actually flat, right? But as soon as I do that, automatically I'm losing 1/4 of an inch off of this board already. That's why this is a good candidate for resawing. I'm also going to lose the same amount on the other side, but you know, I was talking about the process and how this is a little different. When I get this reference face and then I get this reference edge, I draw a line down, and I resaw this, and I bring it back here immediately, and I get another reference face. I don't worry about the edge at that time. I can do that later. And then I run it through the planer and I sticker it, and that's ends up resulting looking like this. So here's rough sawn lumber, okay, and here's finished lumber. There's no cups or twists. This is pretty thin material. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, this just means that I did a good job surfacing it. And after I surface everything, I always sticker my lumber. I call it stickering. Essentially, you take, I talked about this in a different video, little pieces of wood, and those little pieces of wood that you put this on allow air to circulate through this piece, keeping these stable. And that's the whole trick in woodworking, keeping stuff stable, because wood's not a stable material, just so everybody knows. Okay, so let me show you. Okay, so safety first. Make sure you're wearing safety equipment. These are shatterproof glasses. And I'm going to use push sticks. I try to avoid using your hands if you can. If you had an accident and God forbid the cutter had a bolt sheared or who knows what, this is the only thing protecting you. And if you have something else here, it's going to even give you a little bit more protection. So I always say, you know, safety first. So, okay, here's the deal. That's really bad. Okay, so what I have to do is choose a side. I either run it through like this or like this, but I'm going to run it through like this. Now, I don't know if I can show you. You can kind of see the cup on this piece right here. It's very important when you're doing this to not press down. Number one, you'll throw your tables off. This machine's sensitive. You shouldn't sit on your joiners. You shouldn't put a lot of stuff on them. You got to really baby these because these are precision machines and they will deliver for you if you take good care of them. So when I'm pressing down, if I press too hard, I can actually throw my tables off. Or what's really going to happen is I'm going to flex this piece down, I'm going to mill it, and then I'm going to get to the outfeed table, and this is going to go, it's going to pop back up. So we'll see what happens when I run it, but you should hear the cutter head hitting on the front. Not much here in the center on the first couple of cuts, and then the cutter head hitting here. So I'm going to turn the machine on, and we're going to run it, and we're going to see what we're going to get. I'm going to double check my grain direction. I'm good to go. Okay. And we're going to run it. So a really good example, you can see how nice and straight that is. I know it's straight. You saw me mill it. We put it on this steel surface. It's flat. Put the other side on this steel surface. It's not flat, okay? And when you notice, I don't know if you noticed when I started running this material, it made a sound in the beginning and then didn't make much of a cut. That's because this material was not only twisted, it was cupped as well. So I don't care about the other side. I just want to make sure you guys understand that. And this is how, let me get my pencil. Reference edge. Reference face. Reference edge. What does this mean? This means that this edge, face and edge, are 90 degrees. This is the basic principle of all woodworking. If you have trouble doing this, you're going to struggle, especially with dovetails and things like that. But what you're looking for is to make sure that this is dead 90 degrees. And that is how you set your joiner fence up. And incidentally, this is this is a square. You can get these at Home Depot or Lowe's, but don't. You're going to want to buy from one of these companies. This is a Starrett. The company is a United States company called Starrett. They're amazing. This is a $50 item. It's worth every penny. Other companies, Browning and Sharp, Michutoyo, something machined. You're going to know by the weight of it. This is going to help you a lot, and this helps you find center on things and lots of other things. So I really appreciate your time. The next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to resaw this on the bandsaw. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. Take care.